Hello there, my name is Benjamin, and this is the first of a series of videos where I'm going to explain how to use parental controls on different video gaming platforms. In this video, I will be discussing Steam, which is a platform exclusive to Mac and Windows computers. If you want information on other gaming platforms like the PlayStation 4 or the Nintendo Switch, or other computer-based platforms, then please check my channel, and you should find a video that helps with each of those platforms. If it's not there, then it will be coming soon, so keep a lookout. Anyway, so I'm going to be discussing how to implement parental controls on Steam, or as Steam calls it, Family View. So these are a bit out of the way, and when I was first looking into what parental controls were available, at first I thought Steam didn't actually have any options, and I was very surprised to hear that. But you'll be happy to know that it does actually exist, although it might not be immediately obvious. Well, maybe with a bit of looking around. Anyway, so what you're going to want to do to set up parental controls. Well, first, obviously, you're going to want to make the account. I'll just actually show it quickly and make you aware of a couple of details. So, yeah, while this is loading, Steam has a couple of nice policies just in case something goes wrong. First of all, Steam has a refund policy, which means that any game, like for instance, if your kid purchases a game without your permission, if it's been played for less than 2 hours, or if it's within 2 weeks of purchase, or even if both of these limits or just one of these limits has been exceeded, you can still try for a refund. Now, obviously, if you go over these limits, your refund isn't guaranteed, but there's still a good chance you've gotten it, and I've actually gotten refunds this way in the past. There's just a text box where you can give an explanation as to why you want a refund. And if it's within these limits, you're guaranteed a refund from Steam, so they have a very generous refund policy in case anything goes wrong. Another thing to keep in mind is that Steam is a 13 plus only platform, which you can see right here on the account creation screen, which is very important to keep in mind. Now, obviously, to be honest, if you're going to have family controls on and you set up the account for your child, then I think younger than this is okay, because you can literally control every single game that they get to see. Yeah, so in that case, obviously it's completely safe because there's kids games on Steam, or maybe not kids, but young teenager. So like think 10 to 13, but you're definitely going to want to set up these parental controls if you're going to have a child that young accessing the Steam account. Anyway, so I'm just going to log in and then I'll show you how to set up the parental controls. So to set up parental controls, you're going to want to go make your account on Steam, and then when you're in, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click on Steam right here in faded gray letters in the top left, and you're going to want to go to settings. And then you're going to want to click on family immediately, and then you're going to, so this is for sharing games within your household, but this is what you're going to want for parental controls, which is manage family view. So you're going to click on that, and it's going to take you to this page. So here you can control basically, so the library is the games owned by the account, and you can control a specific list of games within the library of the account that they can see. Or if the account is only for your child, then you can have all of the games in the library open. And then here, this is the important one, is as long as you leave these unchecked, the account, while in Family View, won't have access to the Steam store, which means they won't be able to view any of the games which you don't think are appropriate for them. They won't be able to see community generated content, which is very important because Steam has an integrated modding system, and if you enable this, then it will allow your child to basically download mods, and those mods could contain adult content or whatever. So you want to be careful. I advise leaving that unchecked. Friends, chat, and groups, so it's quite obvious. It'll allow them to have a friends list and talk to them. If they're only talking with real life friends, then this is fine, but I always want to emphasize caution because, well, the internet is the internet, and if they decide to add someone from one of the games they were playing, which obviously is only possible if you enable online games, and they come to some stranger, then there's always a risk. So I advise not checking this either, so they don't have access if you don't check it. And then this just allows them to see their own profile, which should be fine if it's an account exclusive to the child. But then if you're sharing the account, so they're using your account and you're only giving them access to a few games with this list feature here, then maybe you want to hide these things so that they don't see any of the stuff you're doing, which maybe you don't think is suitable for them yet, which is obviously perfectly reasonable. So yeah, I basically recommend using these settings. If the account is for the child, if the account is something you're sharing, then I recommend using this option so that you can control which one of the games bound to the account they actually have access to. Okay, so you're going to want to click next. Now this only comes up if you want a specific list. So if they're maybe sharing the account with maybe you, an older sibling, or whatever. And then you can select which games you think are appropriate for them out of this list, and the games you tick will be the ones they'll be able to see, and anything you don't, they will never see. It won't show up in their library. So yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. And then you're going to want to click next, and here you're going to want to put your recovery email. This is probably going to be censored out for purposes of my privacy, but under this black box or whatever it is, you basically type in your email. Make sure it's not your kid's email because they'll be able to disable it that way. And then, yeah, you click next, and then you put in your PIN code. It's only 4 digits. I wish it was a bit longer for, security purposes. Guessing a 4-digit PIN or memorizing one if you see your parents typing it isn't that difficult, so be careful when filling this in. But basically, you're going to want to enter a PIN, make sure you remember it, and that PIN code will basically be required for them to get access to online features or whatever features you have disabled via Family View. And then the second that that's filled in, it's done. You don't have to worry about it, and they won't be able to view any of the things in the online store, provided of course you disabled it, and they'll only be able to see the games you want them to see in the library here. Yeah, so that's basically how to set up parental controls for Steam. Steam actually does have a really good system, and as far as computer-based platforms go, Steam is actually much more customizable in what you allow them to see for parental controls. It's not just some categories. You can customize exactly what you do and don't want them to be able to do, which I think is really good. So yeah, just make sure you're careful with what games you allow for your kids, because obviously online games, or just make sure you look into even single player games to see if they have any questionable content. Look at reviews. Always be careful with that sort of thing. But other than that, that's how you set up the parental controls on Steam. Thank you for watching. If there's anything else, any other platforms for computers or for Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, please do check my channel, and you should find the information there. Thank you for watching.